Hi, we are back for the final signature in the album. It is going to be for this right back panel. Now I know where my magnet went. Okay, so this is the sheet that I'm using, and it is out of the 12 by 12 pack. And I need to erase a pencil marker. All right, the measurements for this last panel will be 9 3/8 of an inch across by 8 3/4 in the height. Now I'm going to try and make this a little fancy. It's the last one. I have my last brass element. I am going to hang it under the curtain, go across the top like this, and then I'm using my larger beads to sit here. And then there was this trim out of the scraps. I just think it's lovely. It has a lot of character to it. So I centered it for the images that I want, because there was some that I cut off here on the ends. And then I am going to run some beads across the top. Now, these are crooked, but don't worry, I'll straighten them out. All right, so this is what we're going to make. So if you want to gather your items, we'll get started. Now, if you don't have the brass element, that's fine. Just don't add it. So I'm going to start with the bottom of the pocket first. And I need to put some tape on this. Oh, measurements, hold on. I'm right in the middle of stringing some tape. Okay. Obviously, the width of this is going to be at 9 3/8, but the height is 3 1/4 inches. I trimmed the pocket to fit that paper trim right there. You know, we go through this paper collection, we cut off so many beautiful images that I try to go back to my scraps all the time and locate the items that can be used as focal points when we're creating, so that they don't just go to waste. Now, you card makers, these would make great elements for the front of a card. You just put in a little bit of a saying and it would be very lovely. But that's not something I do, so I try to use them in my albums. Okay, tag this in a corner. And then we'll glue this down. Now, when I'm done, I will come in with some Wink Stella and I will accent the bows, the floral, possibly these white berries. But I will come in and I will do something with that. But when I'm done, because sometimes it takes it a bit for it to dry, it stays tacky. And if you're like me, you squeeze too hard and you get too much, and then you got to try to spread it out, and I'm not doing that on camera. Just not going to happen. Okay, let's go ahead and let's put this on. Now, if use whatever size beads that you have, or don't use any at all. Those of you who are doing die cuts, more than likely have some beautiful dies. Those of you who are using punches, but I don't have a die that is suitable, that will go long enough for this. And I don't have any punches, so I use bling. I have one of my followers, she started calling me the bling lady. That's so cute. All right, let's get this put down. I'm just gonna tape this. I'm just gonna come in just a little bit, not much. There will be plenty of room here to put a fixed photo if that's what you wish to do, or just treat it as the tuck that I'm creating. So I'm going to use that 1/4 inch tape because I want to really make sure this is down. And this lace should hide it pretty well. Oh. So what I did on the ends, I cut off, there was one of these elements, but it was only half of it, and I didn't like it, so I cut it off. So if you're wondering why it looks just a little different. Then I can come in here and I'll snip this off. And then I am going to, I don't want this flapping around, so I'm going to tack down just the bottoms of the lace. Whoa, I just got glue everywhere there. That will help to straighten out this one that wants to be crooked. And it will also help keep that from swinging all over the place. So we're going to come in here and I'm just going to tack this down. All right. So there is our base page. Oh, no, it's not. I forgot. I wanted to put some beads across the top. Add a little festive decoration. Okay, now we can call it good. So let's move on to our first set of flaps. Left flap. We'll measure in at 6 5/8 of an inch across by your 8 3/4 in height. You will come in and score it at 1/2, and then you're going to score it at 5/8. We need this height to get over these. Plus, we're going to add some waterfalls to this page. So we will bring our work right up to that 1/2 inch line so that it puts that hinge up on the top. Now I anticipate I'm going to have some trouble getting up over this end and then right here. Now I gotta look to the inside to make sure I don't have any tape showing. Oh, I do down here. Pooh. I almost made it. That's what happens when you have height. Okay, I'm just going to do it this way. There we go. So then when this closes, that 1/8 of an inch height, these rest right on top. All right, let's go to our right side panel. Should be close to the same measurement. Comes in at 6 5/8 across by 8 3/4. Again, you're going to score it at 1/2 and you're going to score it at 3/4. And I think I am going to try and mount this way so that I am not struggling with the beads. I just have to be slow. Oh, look at that. Wonderful. Okay. Voila. All right. Inside, we're going to use this pattern piece for both sides. If I can get everything apart. I've got it paper clipped together so that I remember where all my elements go. All right, so these are going to be trimmed to fit. You're going to have these on both sides, and then we're going to put some waterfalls here. And yes, this is beautiful, but you're putting a waterfall here, it's going to cover it up, so that's why we're using the other side. Okay. All right, so the waterfall that we're going to create, and I've already got mine assembled. It's faster and quicker if I do it this way. You can stop and start your video to get things accomplished, but these are going to measure 6 3/8 in their length. And they're going to be 3 7/8 in their height. And you're going to have a 1/2 inch score. So I probably should have told you that differently. So their width is going to be 3 7/8. Their length is going to be the 6 3/8. 1/2 inch score. I cut a piece of paper that matched the width, and it was 2.5 inches, and I went ahead and I attached my waterfall. So now I'm able to put it on as one unit and not struggle with on film adding things in. I'm taking this card. It will go on the front of this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add that now. And this is another item that I'll come in and add some Wink Stella and decorate it up. I'm going to grab some tape. I suppose I could get courageous and glue it. Let me just eyeball where I want this to be. About right there. Okay, so now I trimmed out some trimmings. They're 1/2 inch wide by almost the width. And I'm going to put them right down here. And out of your scraps, you can use whatever texture or color for the ends of your flaps if you're covering them. I know that there are photos that are going to be going in this, but for appearances, I always like to cover the tips so that there's a little bit of character to them. Understanding that there may be a photo, but some people actually trim up their photos because they like that look. Now up here in the hinge, I trimmed out some 3/8 strips that are almost the width. So we can kind of cover that up. And I think it's good, once I get this up here, it's going to be quicker and easier for me to do it this way. Now I'm not putting on any type of a strap to hold these down because the page itself, when it closes, will keep them laying flat. Okay, so this side is done. Now let's go play around with this side. Oh, I have to trim this. I'm writing right on top of my hinge. That is not good. I did not measure that well. Now my fingers are all tacky. Oh, much better, much, much better. So now I'm in front of the hinge instead of right on it. Get rid of my pencil mark. Okay, the second set of waterfall will sit in here just like the other one did. This is the card I chose to represent the face of this for its character. I love this little guy, and I really haven't been able to play with him very much throughout this, so I was just tickled pink when I set these aside that I would get to. I think he's just adorable. And then I did the same thing. I trimmed out the sweater pattern to put across the bottom of these. Again, 1/2 inch by almost the width. And then I have the same paper collection that I used, or paper scrap that I used to trim out the 3/8 wide strip to cover the hinge. Oh, wow, that was short. That was way short. Are they all short? Oh, they're all way short. Oh, for Pete's sake. Okay, I will have to come back to those. I really cut them extremely short. I must have been out to lunch when I did that, so I'll come back and cover those. Right now, I'll focus on getting this in. Holy cow. All you can do is laugh. Okay, so with the exception of my hinge coverings, this part of it is done. So we're going to close these. And then the outer part of this, I'm using this piece here and this piece. So these two trims. Down here, I've took out this card out of the A4 pack and I put tape across it so this could be a tuck. I'm not doing anything with this page simply because I'm not going to cover up the images. And I'm really regretting not, you know, I wonder if my magnets would be strong enough to go through all of this, because now would be the time to do it before I cover. Okay, I think it'll work. I have some super strong magnets that I'm going to use. I didn't think about the flappability. So if you have not done this yet, you might consider adding a tag, or if you've got some of these magnets that are really strong, you might consider using them. Unfortunately, and I'm not putting basic gray down, they won't work. They just don't have the strength to get through all this layer. So I'm just being honest. They are a great magnet for a multitude of scrapbooking, and I use them a lot, but in situations like this, I need to change up what I'm doing. So let me get this on here. And I'll come back and I will cover this one flap. There's plenty of paper that can be used still. We have several sheets that are left over that you could actually cover both sides if that's what you want to do. Okay, so that's going to be a lot better. All right, this is going to go here. I'm going to go ahead and tape this down because I do have a magnet under it. I was hesitating there whether I wanted to do that or not. Okay. Now, last night I set in some more of the prills, let them, I glued them in, and then I let them set overnight so that they would be ready to go here. And you don't have to do that. You can use stickles or don't do anything at all. That's really entirely up to you. You could use even a different product. If you're the fussy cut kind, you could fussy cut those out, pop them up. There's lots of ways to highlight a lot of this stuff in here. Okay, so now this is the other piece. And I'm going to tape it down as well. Way too much hanging there. And then this tag. And I taped the bottom because I'm just like prevent things from falling out. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But this one I did. And I'm just going to come in a little bit off the edge. And now you have a nice snug tuck that you can put some items there. All right, so it closes up and it looks like this. Now let's move on to our next set of flaps. This is going to measure 5 inches across by 8 3/4 in the height. But this time you're going to come in and you're score it at 1/2 and you're going to score it at 3/4. We need this hinge to envelope around everything that we've already built. So I'm going to attach it like so. I'm going to turn it over and this piece should line right up to that 3/4 inch score line. And then that means that this 1/4 inch hinge, when we fold this over, is going to wrap around what we just built. Just like that. Now, the left side is going to be a lot bigger. Left side is going to measure at 8 3/4 across by 8 3/4 in the height. Again, you're going to have a 1/2 inch score and a 3/4 inch score. I'm going to lift this, I'm going to wrap it, make sure I'm landing right on that 3/4 score line. hold that in place and fold this over. There we go. Okay, now I need to put some magnets, and because this is such a big signature, I'm going to use 2. Okay, so I'm going to put that one there. And I'm going to put that one about there. And then I'm going to fold this over to make sure that my magnets are going to sit okay on the opposite page. Where are they landing? Oh, very good, very good. Okay. Put my spacers back on. I love these things because they hold everything in place while I am working with them, and it helps to separate them so much easier, so much gentler on my hands. I tried to find them again on Amazon, but not having it. Can't find them. Make sure everything's lined up, we're level. Ta-da. Now I will add some tape just to ensure that they don't take a walkabout. There we go. All right, now the inside flap, this piece of paper out of your 12 by 12s. Now when I cut and trimmed the larger of the 2 pieces, what was left over fit perfect on that right side. Now it's the smaller of the 2, so I'm going to go ahead and just get this glued down. We've got a little bit of work on that big one to do. And there will be another reason why I'm using 2 magnets. All right, made a little pocket. This pocket measures 4 1/4 inches across by 3 1/2 inches. I've taped it. I've rounded the corner, and it's going to come right down here like so. And then I found this piece in my scraps, and I think there was an extra piece here on the end, but I really liked this. Cozy winter. It just was a nice statement piece without having to fussy cut anything out. So I'm using that to cover it. Then I had a little bit of this lace left, so I'm going to use it on this pocket. So what we've created here is a nice deep pocket that you can put some items in. And I just, for reference, I did use the skinny tape, so we only lose 1/4 of an inch in the width rather than 1/2 an inch if you were to use 1/4 inch tape. And I don't use glue on these kinds of things because glue spreads, and I want to control that contact. That's why I use tape. Okay, put this in here. I'm going to have a lot left over, so I'm going to come in at it from this angle. And then I can snip this off. And I'll tack this down. Okay, so there, our pocket is made. Now let's get to this bigger side. Now I am taping this because I do have some magnets on this side. Where'd my, oh, there it is. Okay. All right, now what we're building here are two waterfalls that will go the different, your horizontal direction. These are smaller. We have, I don't know about you, but I have a multitude of these strips. Now, for card makers, that's great because you can use them on other things. You can put them into other scrapbooking elements, but I need to use these or they're a waste. So I trimmed the waterfall to fit these so that I could use as much of it as I could. So these are going to measure 3 1/8 in the height by 5 3/8 in their overall length. You're going to score at 1/2. And then this will frame in for your photo. Now I'm going to glue this on. I've already attached everything for mine, just because as you could probably look at your clock, you can see this video is quite long already as it is. So I just try to keep things pre-made as much as possible because I'm hoping you know how to make a waterfall. If you struggle with it, please message me and I don't mind helping you. Oh my God, I screwed up. Oh my gosh, I just screwed up. Ah! I am so glad I taped this down because I just blew it. Okay, so let me get in here. I cannot believe myself. I gotta tell you, I'm just so grateful that I have a habit of taping a lot of my paper. Let me get this I need to back, oh, that's where it's hung up at. Come on, let go, let go, let go. Okay, now I'm gonna crease it a little bit. It's gonna get hidden with the waterfall, but we need to add in the tabs now to hold this set closed. Because when you open this, it's just gonna flap around and I don't want you to do that. So I cut these so that they're 4.5 inches in length by 1.5 inches in their height. There is a 1/2 inch score and a 5/8 of an inch score. And I had not folded these yet. And I spent so much time trimming and cutting things. What a goofball. All right, so let's try this again. I want to center this. I'll use the one that doesn't have glue on it. I want to center this right about here. So that means I want to put this right about there, and at least with the glue I can do a little bit of adjusting. Okay, now the second one. Same measurements. I cannot believe I almost messed this up big time. So that one's going to go there. This one's going to go about here. Oh. Okay, okay. So I'm going to lift this up. Okay, now I'm going to add some fresh glue to this. I'm just amazed at myself sometimes. I just do stupid things. And then this one's going to come sit in right here. But at least I caught it. Now I'm lining it up over there. Before the glue sets, I'm going to center this. There we go. Okay, now, magnets. I'm putting one right here. I'm going to tape that little guy down. And then the spacer. And then we'll make sure this is straight, and down it goes. All right, second set of magnets. Put it right there. Okay. I'm just like almost frustrated with myself that I almost blew that. Okay, so in your scraps, this will be off of the A4 papers because we've been cutting into it for miscellaneous things, but I love the pattern. So that's what's gonna go right here. And I'm just gonna glue it on. I'm not gonna worry about taping this on because I'll tear it apart if I have to. But I think I'm gonna be okay. And then there's this adorable, cute puppy. It's out of the A4. In fact, this is off the A4 sheet where I cut these out at. And we're just gonna center him in here. And then on this side, I'm using this particular pattern to cover the flap. And then off the same A4, I trimmed out this, and there's another one right beside it. We'll be using it here shortly. And then there are some quoted sayings. I'm going to put this right here, and then the quoted saying will sit just like this. Now I want to cover up the edge, so this is just going to kind of hang over a little bit. Winter solitude in a world of one color, the sound of wild. And then on the underside, you can pick whatever pattern most suits you from a visual aid standpoint. I kind of liked this one, so that's what I used. Now, in hindsight, I really wished I'd covered the back side of those, but they're not going to show too terribly. It's just a little bit of brown. Okay, let's do this bottom flap over here. So again, I'm using the sweater pattern. And I trimmed out this framed in bird for the bottom. And then I'm sticking with the same pattern on the underside of the flap, just so there's some continuity. And then I stayed with this. I love this pattern. I just love it. I think it's so rich. And then this was the other card that sat next to this one. So I'm going to glue it in place. And then these two statements were right there next to each other. The beauty of winter captures my soul, wild and raging, be lovingly cold. Okay, now, once again, I have cut some of this sweater material to fill in here. Whoops, get back down there. And I think I just realized what it was I did, and I've got to try to find those. I tossed them over here. Nope, different ones. Okay, so what am I missing here? Oh, they're all together. Missing one. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Well, oh, there it is. Whoops, get back up there. All right, so now real fast, I will try. I cut this, I think it's herringbone pattern to go here to fill in the hinges. Just a couple more steps and we'll be done. Okay, that's what we have now for the inside. We're going to turn these over. And I just made a big mistake. Remember those magnets? Even my strong magnets aren't going to go up through all this. So, think fast. What are we going to do to help keep this closed? Well, let's take a look at what we've got here. This is where my brain starts going into overdrive. What did I do wrong? All right, how do I fix it? And I'm going to show you how, because I think I got an idea. So this is the front of it. We have not used this piece. It's warm, it's inviting, and it tells you that you of a great story if you really look at this. Next to this piece, there were 3 cards. So I trimmed right straight up the wood grain, put that here, and then this one's going to go right here. We're just going to flip the sides. So what I think I'm going to do before I get this down, and I'm going to grab a couple of magnets. We're going to make a band that's going to come up. So let's take a look here. We've got some cards, oh, that one would be nice. Here's the kitty cat. What else do I have here that I can quickly... I've already used the puppy. Oh, that would be nice. That image is great. Oh, here's that cute little squirrel, but not appropriate. Oh, that's a lovely piece. Sold. Okay, so I am going to ink this. I'm going to grab some of this leftover paper because it should fit on here just perfect. Make my ticks. This is my brain in overdrive, folks. I did not think that step through. I just wasted magnets. I'm not digging all that out of there just to get at a couple of magnets. So what I will do is I will strip and save the magnets that are under here because there's no sense in me burying these just because I can't use the other 2. So those will go over there out of my way. And then I don't want to catch. Okay, so now we're going to glue this on. Silly, silly girl. I was so focused on one element that I completely forgot. Didn't even occur to me. But like I said, we can fix this. All right, I'm going to do a 2-inch band because I want it to be strong enough. That's not long enough. So this is going to attach back here. And I'm going to take one of the magnets and I'm going to put it down right now. I'm going to cut a piece to fit over this entirely. So it's just a matter of finding something that's going to work. I'm just reaching into my scraps. No particular reason. I'm not going to dig through them to find something. It's on top, so I'm going to play with it. Okay, so let's get this centered. Okay, so now we know this is 2 inches, so let's figure out what kind of a length we need to have. So I'm going to have a score here. This is a 1/4 inch. All right, so let me play with this for just a second, and then I can tell you what we're going to need. Okay, so this is 2 inches by 5 7/8. Scoring it at a 1/2 inch, scoring it at 3/4 of an inch. This needs to be a wider hinge because we've got all this. Now I'm going to look real quick and find a piece to cover here and a piece to cover here. So what do I have that's readily available? Because I know we're really cutting into some time. Okay, so the underside is covered. Now the top side. I wanted a little more decoration to it. Where's my pencil mark? Uh-oh. There it is. Sometimes I can't see them. Now, with a little bit more time, you could probably, oh, that's a nice piece. I'm going to use that side. You can find pieces like I just did that might look nice. I'm going to use that side. Okay, now we need to put this together. Put it about center. And I'm not sure where, oh, this is the magnet. I've got myself rattled because I blew that, so I apologize. And thinking on the spot, spur of the moment, is always a challenge, especially when you're doing a video and you're almost done and you don't want to have to start all over. But I think I found a great workaround. And with the weight, you know, as it turns out, as I'm thinking about it, with the weight on that page, this is probably the best thing anyway. Ta-da! Ah, made it. All right, let's turn this guy over. Let's get it put into the album and we will be done. I'm going to start here on this end. Oh, where are we at for time? Oh, well, I apologize. That last little mix up there didn't help us for time. But I warned you, told you. It was going to be a biggie. At least I think I did. Okay, let's grab some. I'm going to use some 1/2-inch tape because we've got some good weight in this thing. And we're going to do 3 strips to support this into the album. Okay, let's get this put in. This is going to be a heavy, heavy album. And then it will sit in here like so. Because it's so big, I am going to try and lay it down and not have to worry about getting inside of it. All right, make sure these are sticking out because I really need them to pull this. All right, right to the edge, top to bottom, I'm level. Now that worked out nice. Okay, let's get in and let's burnish it. Now I'm going to have to be really careful up here. So I'm going to take my time there. All the stuff inside. Okay, I think we're done. So we have our double waterfalls here. We have a nice tuck here. We have a pocket over here. And then we have a double waterfall here. This will close, and that's our closure. Ah, we made it. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Again, I apologize for the mistakes, but I hope maybe you learned something from them, because when I do a boo-boo, I do not take it out of the tape. I want you to learn so you can see my thought process, how I'm going to fix something. So thank you for playing along. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would do so. I will see you on the next build. Bye-bye.